Yahoo! My name is Sophie, and I'm a second-year jet from Philadelphia in America. I currently teach at a senior high school in Kobe. It's pretty low level, but I still have fun, and today I'm going to tell you about my sports lesson.
Hey guys, welcome back to the second video in this series where I talk to other ALTs about their real lesson plans, start to finish. Today with us we have Sophie. Welcome to the channel, Sophie.
Hi!
I can't remember, have you appeared in one of my videos?
No, this is my first one.
Oh my god, your debut.
I know, I'm so honored. I was just waiting for the days. I was like, when is this friendship going to pay off?
Sophie actually also has a YouTube channel. You can check out her videos here and I'll pop the link down below to her channel so you can go check that out.
Don't expect weekly videos.
No.
Don't expect monthly videos.
They're not so often, but they're very cool. They're very different from, there's a very different style of video than from what I do. It's very interesting, so highly recommend you give those a watch, guys. So why don't you start by telling us a little bit about your school situation?
My school is very low level. So that's nice because I don't have to do a lot of work. No speech contests, no ACAN prep, no ESS club.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of free time.
It has its perks.
Yes, but the kids are very low level, so I can't really talk to them a lot, and I'm pretty limited with the kind of lessons I can do. A lot of ALTs focus on different things, like to improve their English. And I understand that it's English class, but also it's the ALT lesson, which I think is different from the English grammar lessons they have with the JTs solo. My lesson, I think, should just be a fun place where the students can engage, maybe use a few words in English, and just enjoy learning about other cultures. I really focus more on that than teaching them like past participles. Yeah, like I'd rather keep it simple, just something that they can enjoy, and then maybe, you know, in university they're like, yeah, like my ALT, she was really cool, she was from America, maybe I'll go study abroad there. I just want to be a positive experience for them so they understand, you know, different cultures and maybe inspire them to visit an English-speaking country.
How many kids are in one of your classes?
Usually it's about 40.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I mean, we get a fair amount of dropouts, so maybe it's like 37 by the second year.
So when you design your classes, do you design them with big groups of students in mind?
Yeah, so most of it's centered around the kids either all paying attention to me, like a listening test, so they're all listening to me. Or I will do a lot of pair work. I do small groups and like maybe groups of 4 or 6 students. So I kind of try to mix it up, depending on, but it usually works out pretty well.
And today you're going to talk to us about your lesson on sports.
Yes.
Sports. Okay, so why don't you just go ahead and talk us through that start to finish.
Okay, so my classes are 50 minutes. Most of my lessons revolve around just simple vocabulary. I did this class with my first years, so the positive side is they're kind of excited to learn English, because here's the tea, the kids really don't care about English. I didn't care really about language in high school, so I can't really fault them. I just try to make it fun. Minimal English. I use a stamp system. I give out as many stamps as possible because I want the kids to feel motivated. I usually try to divide it into like 10-minute increments for everything. So usually what I start with is my worksheets are basically all formatted the same. At the top of the worksheet, I usually have 12 boxes. I never use Japanese on my worksheets. I never want the kids to be like, this is the English word and this is the Japanese word. I don't think you remember as well, and
because your eye just goes straight to the answer in Japanese. Exactly.
So I focus more on using as many pictures as I can on my worksheets, and they have to write and match. Sometimes I'll do really easy sports that have the same name in katakana Japanese. So, for example, tennis is the same, badminton is the same. But then I'll also do more difficult sports that they maybe have different names in Japanese. So maybe like motor sports.
So, Sophie fucked up here because motor sports in Japanese is just
motor sports.
However, a better example is track and field, which is
陸上競技
in Japanese, and cannot be guessed from the English pronunciation.
They probably don't really understand what that word means.
Yeah.
And this is usually good because I let them use their dictionaries. I let them talk to friends. I don't mind them conversing together if it means they'll finish the worksheet.
Yeah.
After that, what I like to do is have the kids write the answers on the board themselves, especially because this gets kids who maybe don't feel comfortable talking in class, aren't comfortable with their pronunciation, involved in the class, and gives them opportunities to get stamps too. Because some really, really want to participate, but they're so scared to talk in front of people. So I'm like, are there 12 volunteers to come write the answers on the board? And I do this so much that they know this routine now, so I can just be like, okay, and it's like me.
See, that's something I think I need to work on, because I've tried to consistently do one topic and go more in depth into it, but it means that I'm not following the same format each lesson. The activities are always different and stuff, so I'm constantly having to teach them procedures and
re-explain,
stuff. So content-wise, it's great, but it is more difficult to actually teach.
Yeah. Then check the answers. I circle, okay, it's right. Maybe if there's a word that has two meanings, so I was like, oh, there are two ways to say this. So if there's a differentiation, maybe in British English or American English, I'll write that on the board. We check pronunciation. So I usually say it 2 times. The McDonald's is here!
McDonald's, yay! We just got Uber Eats in this area, and it's very exciting. So you can't see, but there is absolute carnage here of McDonald's wrappers.
We devoured the McDonald's.
Amazing. Anyway, back to the show. So anyway, you were at the point they'd written their answers on the board and you'd gone over pronunciation.
Yes.
So that's first activity done, 10 minutes.
Yes. After that, we do maybe a small activity game that isn't really involved with English, but just something to help them think about other cultures or
cultural exchange is part of our job as well.
Exactly. So I like to do for the sports lesson, I'm guess the top 5 sports in America. I have to kind of explain them. So in Japan, this is the most popular sport. What do you think in America the most popular sport is? This is the only part I've really struggled with in this lesson, because Japanese students are very against just complete guesses. They're so scared to get the answer wrong, and when they have absolutely no idea,
and no possible way to even try and work it out.
Exactly. They can't use their dictionary to look up the answer. It's just complete guesswork. They get very uncomfortable with that. So I really have to encourage them to try, and this is when I use the JTE. I'm just tell them just to write anything. It's just supposed to be fun. I just want them to try.
It's just supposed to be fun.
You'll have fun and you'll like it. Now they've gotten a little more comfortable with just complete guesswork. Still not that great at it. But then when we review it together, I start with number 5 on the board and I'm just guess. We get 4, 3, 2, 1, and then by number 1 they mostly all kind of know. It's a great discussion point too, because they're so shocked maybe sometimes by the answers. I think baseball was only 4, and Japanese people love baseball, so they were shocked that it wasn't number 1 in America. They know really nothing about American football, so with that we do maybe a short listening test, and I like to use listening tests because a lot of my kids don't go to university, but the ones that do, they will have to take listening tests as part of their entrance exam.
Yeah.
So I think listening tests are a good way, just make sure the students are understanding the material and they are testing their abilities as well, because it's individual work and they can't talk to their partner for this. So this part they have to do on their own. I do maybe a 10 fill in the blank listening test about American football. I do really easy words and not phrases, it's just one word. So I like that too, because I can use that with all 3 years, but just change the difficulty. Yeah. I'll read it twice, 2 times, and then maybe give them a minute or 2
to finalize it.
To finalize, yeah. I'm use katakana, I don't care. I would probably write that too and then go back and change. After the listening test, which also takes maybe about 10 minutes or so.
So we're about half an hour in at this point.
Yeah. I'll do a find someone activity. And I like this activity because you can also change it with different topics, different questions, but the kids understand the format, so I don't have to explain it every time. And I do that with a lot of activities. It's the same format, I just change the material. I don't have to spend 20 minutes explaining the directions, and then we don't finish the lesson. I'm always okay, we have 3 minutes left. We have to.
Okay, understand? No, that's fine. Let's move on anyway.
Yeah. I have a little timer, and I put it on the board to check myself. Yeah, a timer saves me.
That's why this year actually I'm doing some topics over multiple lessons, because last year in one lesson there was no way, so I've literally split it into 2 classes a lot of the time. Find someone activity. How does that work?
So on their paper, it'll maybe say 7 sentences. Find someone who plays volleyball, and then I'll give them the example question that they have to ask. They will have to go up to another student and be like, do you play volleyball? And the student will have to answer, yes, I do play volleyball, or no, I do not play volleyball. And if the student does play volleyball, they'll write the student's name. So this is to check that they're actually asking people and not just talking to their friends. And they'll write, so-and-so plays volleyball. So it'll be like 6 or 7 questions like that. It's also a great filler if you don't have a lot of time. It can just be 2, and that gets them up, that gets them talking to other students in the class. I like that because they have to stand up and get, active, and I think that's a good way.
So it's less about learning the vocabulary and stuff for the topic and more about just giving them more and more opportunities to speak.
Exactly, yeah.
So that's another 10 minutes?
Maybe 5 minutes. And sometimes I do that actually in the beginning if the class is seeming a little like low energy, especially, right before lunch. Last period. And then I always usually finish with a game. I think it's the best way to end a lesson.
I like to try and end on something fun. So they leave on a positive note.
Exactly.
And they think, that was a good lesson. Even if for most of it they were like,
Exactly. Again, like the games are very low English ability. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not heavy like memorization. It's a game. For this game, what I did was put the pictures from their worksheet of the 12 sports they learned on the cards, and then on the other card I put the name of the sport. And then maybe I'll throw in some more difficult sports that they maybe don't know the name to. If it was just the 12, it would go too fast.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So it's probably like 30 cards, and I shuffle them all up and put them together. And then I have the kids get into groups of 4, like they can spread out the cards over the 4 tables. Yeah. Basically, wait till I say go. Yeah. And then they have to match the cards. They have to match the picture with the sport name. They have to keep their worksheet in their desk, so some kind of like sneak it out, but usually someone remembers. Yeah. And that's a good thing with group activities too, like
if one kid doesn't know another probably
Yes, exactly. And then I say the group that finishes first and gets them all correct can get prizes, not stamps, prizes. Japanese kids love competition, so the race to finish it's bedlam everywhere. Like
definitely games or some kind of prize, and declaring a winner is the best motivation, I think.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah, I love a matching game.
Is that pretty much the rest of the lesson?
Yeah, and then I let them come up and get stamps after, and if they have 5, they can get their prizes.
Something I wanted to ask you, because you've talked a little about worksheets and stuff, but you've not mentioned PowerPoint. Do you have any kind of access to any kind of TVs or screens or anything like that in your classrooms?
Most of my classes, the basic ones I teach with all the first years and all the second years, we're in their regular classrooms. There's no TV.
Okay, well, thank you so much for doing this. I invited Sophie to come here literally a couple hours ago, and here she is. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and if you want to see more videos like this, comment down below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to see more. I will see you next time.